Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today we have another new release. Today has been a day. Earlier today, if you haven't seen them yet, I did release The Queen's Gambit, which I actually filmed like over a month ago because I watched it way faster than I meant to. And I also released WandaVision Episode 6 review, so please give those a look. And we have another new release on HBO Max. For those of you who don't know still, HBO Max is hosting all Warner Brothers releases for the entirety of 2021, which is insane. So definitely get a subscription to that. I would recommend that. Please consider subscribing if you want more. I have content every Monday through Friday. Actually, not true. Monday through Friday and occasionally Saturday and Sunday. Because I keep getting, I'm in film club now, and I'm in a class about movies, and so I have to watch all this stuff, and I'm really, really enjoying it. But it's giving me more and more to do, and I can't just add it to my Monday to Friday schedule because I already have series and such. But keeping close. Keep watching out for those things on Saturdays and Sundays because they will come. But today we're going to go ahead and start talking about Judas and the Black Messiah. Judas and the Black Messiah was released in 2021, today, and was written by Will Burson and Shaka King, and directed by Shaka King. So, a little bit of back plot on what I did today. So I woke up, and I watched WandaVision, then I went to class, and I filmed, edited, uploaded WandaVision, and then I immediately went to start watching Judas and the Black Messiah, which, granted, may not have been the best idea. Because I'm already tired. It's been a long day. And then this movie, as much as I think it's an interesting story, it's so slow. It is like one of the slowest movies I've ever watched. Enticing, sure. But not visually, right? Like, listening to this movie is awesome. I would recommend getting this on iTunes and just like listening to it when you're walking places. Because it gets you pumped. There's a lot of really cool moments, a lot of really cool speeches. But video-wise, it's just kind of dull and boring. There's not a lot of cool camera action. It just feels like you're just there watching, which is fine in some movies. But in a movie where there's almost no action, it really does start to drag on, and it's a slow burner. It is a slow movie, very slow, very exhausting, very taxing, I suppose I should say, on the brain. For those of you who don't know what this movie is about, essentially it's about the Black Panther movement, where the segregated blacks are beginning to push back on the policemen who are basically throwing them in jail and killing them for no reason. And I don't want to get into it too much because spoilers for 1 and for 2. I'm tired and I want to go to sleep. I might live stream after this is uploaded for a little bit on Facebook. So if you're interested in like Oculus and stuff, I do stream Oculus games. So the movie in general, right, it was really good, I think. I think it was a fun movie I guess not fun, but like it was interesting enough to keep my attention going, right? Like the story is really, really cool. I don't think the writing and the directing is as good as the story itself, right? Like, if I wanted to hear the story, and it might be better, I had an old teacher, Mr. Mahalchik, and I could just listen to him talk for days about this history stuff, and this just felt like a worse version of that, mainly because the visual quality isn't very good here. I just didn't really like the directing and where they decided to move the cameras. It didn't feel natural. It felt kind of annoying how we would just kind of be in a different spot instead of moving the camera around. And honestly, I spent a lot of this time looking down and just like thinking and listening to the story. I think the story is really solid, and at times when I would like pay more attention, it would be 100% because of Daniel Kaluuya here. So I am excited to talk about the acting, but I want to talk about the writing first. So the good parts about the writing were the speeches, in my opinion. But I think the speeches were actually not written by them. I think the speeches probably were written by the actual people that this represented. So then, is the good part of the writing, do we credit that to Burson and King here? I don't know if we do. And I'm not saying that the rest of the movie was bad writing. It just wasn't as good. Like, I felt way more intense when I was listening to the speeches delivered by Kaluuya here, and I really enjoyed that part. But every other part just felt long and draggy and like, ugh. And then they brought in the idea where his girlfriend was pregnant and whatever, which I actually really liked. I think it was cool how we had at least some more consequences to the fact that Hampton might die. And so it was really interesting, at least to me, that we had some more stakes, but the way it was introduced was really nice, and then it kind of just went away. They didn't talk about it enough. Bringing that up more might have made the ending feel a little bit more permanent, I think is the word I'm looking for here. But let's go ahead and talk about the acting real quick. So first we have Daniel Kaluuya as Fred Hampton. Wonderful, Oscar-worthy performance. I loved this performance. I loved listening to the speeches. Watching him speak is so cool, particularly at public events. And in the private life when he's with his girlfriend, really interesting as well. In general, I think the character's fun. Obviously, it's a real character. And he's able to, basically say, I am for the people. I'm not for myself. If I die fighting for the people, then I have died for a worthy cause. And I love characters like that. It just felt like the whole movie was against him, which it was. But, it just felt kind of slow in terms of, are we going to get somewhere? Are they going to get what they want? Which I suppose is important for a movie. We want some suspense, but it gets down to the point where, I could just Google it. I could just Google it and find out. I can Google it and find out right now. And it just felt like I didn't need a movie about this. However, a slight stray. This might not have been the media for this, I think is what I'm trying to say. Media being plural for medium, where maybe film isn't where this is supposed to be. This would be an excellent podcast. An excellent TV show, I think, like a miniseries on Netflix might have done better too. I do enjoy Netflix's miniseries. But I'm interested to see exactly, what we get out of this movie. I understand it's important, and it's very civil in the ways that it's important, particularly now in the whole Black Lives Matter movement. But how is this movie going to change anything? Because it makes me curious as to why we released it this year and not in a previous year. Because people are always like, oh, well, release dates are just release dates. No, they're not. They choose when to release it. They chose February, probably because it is the Black History Month. They probably did that on purpose. So I think they're trying to put it out here to get a rise out of people and to understand at least more of the history of our Black nation. And I think it's interesting that we decided to do that on this day, particularly when when is Martin Luther King's Day? It's it was recently, I think. Why didn't they release it on that day? I don't know. It's interesting. It's something interesting to think about, and I think maybe making it a miniseries might have been better. Also, they could have made it longer, which I'm not saying I wanted it to be longer because it was slow, but they could have added more action in, or at least some more interesting sequences. Lakeith Steinfeld, I think it's Steinfeld, maybe it's Stanfield? It's Stanfield. I'm bad at writing. It's Stanfield as Bill O'Neill. Bill O'Neill is basically an informant to the FBI who is also in the Black Panther movement. So he sells out basically Hampton. And I like the character a lot. I think it was well done acting-wise. I'm a little curious as to how it worked in real life, because I don't think this would have been easy to pull off, and it felt really easy in the movie, which it wasn't, I'm assuming. So I don't know why we decided to go with that route. There should have been more stakes involved in terms of, because he was like, oh, if you tell them that you're an informant, I'll just send you to jail for 7 years. It's okay. Hampton was in jail for a couple years. No, he wasn't. It was a few months, wasn't it? I don't remember. It kind of felt lazy in terms of we need a bad guy, but we don't want it to necessarily be just the FBI. Let's have an informant. Which I understand it is based on a true story, but it didn't feel very real. The stakes weren't very high. Jesse Plemons as Roy Mitchell. He is the FBI agent that's basically trying to get rid of the black movement. He's fine. I think he's good in most of the things that he does. But he always feels like one of those actors that are just a filler. It's oh, somebody dropped out. Want to come in? He's not spectacular. He's not going to win an award for this. But I think it was fine. It was at least a reasonable choice. I do want to also mention Martin Sheen and how amazingly crazy he looks in this. He plays J. Edgar Hoover, which I have a movie about J. Edgar coming up in about a month. Really interesting performance there. I don't want to talk about it. I didn't download a picture of him or anything. But I just want to mention he's a chameleon in this, and really well done. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here for today because I'm tired. I'm going to take a nap, I think. Maybe live stream in a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and give this movie an A-. If you guys like the reviews, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot. Fridays are always crazy. I apologize if it feels like I'm throwing content at you. I mean, I am, but I don't want you to feel that way. I apologize for my hair, and I've literally just been watching things all day, which, as much as I love the hobby of watching movies and filming YouTube videos, I also really value sleep. I also got packages in the day. I got the first edition of the Punisher comic books by Max, so I'm really excited to see that. I'm hopefully going to read all of them in quick succession. I also got a Punisher poster. If you couldn't tell, I love the Punisher. I just recently got into the huge Punisher show on Netflix, and I'm loving it. I bought a poster, and I painted a Marvel Studios thing. I did a lot today, so I apologize if I seem a little hectic. But I'm going to wrap it up here. As always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.